The silence has finally shattered, and fans are absolutely stunned. For weeks, whispers have echoed through social media, cable news panels, and late-night group chats about the growing tension surrounding Usha Vance, her husband JD Vance, and the name that no one could seem to stop mentioning, Erika Kirk. Every day brought a new rumor. Every hour added fuel to the fire. And through it all, one question burned hotter than the rest: why hasn't Usha said a word? Until now. Late last night, in a move no one saw coming, Usha Vance reportedly decided she was done staying quiet. Done watching strangers dissect her marriage. Done seeing headlines spiral out of control. Done protecting everyone else's feelings while her own were pushed to the breaking point. Sources say emotions ran high as her truth, finally came pouring out, and what followed left insiders gasping, fans divided, and the Vance inner circle reeling. This isn't just political gossip. This isn't just another viral controversy that fades in 48 hours. This is personal. This is raw. This is a story about loyalty tested, trust questioned, and a family thrust into a spotlight they never asked for. And according to people close to the situation, what Usha revealed behind closed doors was far more intense than anyone imagined. Fans are shocked not just by what was allegedly said, but by how it was said. Voices raised. Long pauses filled with tension. A moment where everything seemed to hang in the balance. Was this a calculated response? A long simmering breaking point? Or the beginning of a much bigger unraveling? As speculation exploded overnight, reactions flooded in from every direction. Supporters rushed to defend. Critics circled fast. Friends were forced to pick sides. And at the center of it all stood Usha, calm on the surface, but, insiders claim, carrying the weight of weeks of betrayal, scrutiny, and emotional strain. And then there's JD. Where does he stand as the walls close in? What role does Erika Kirk really play in this storm of accusations and denials? And why are those closest to the family saying this is only the beginning? Stay with us, because once you hear what allegedly pushed Usha Vance to finally break her silence, you'll understand why people are calling this one of the wildest, most unexpected turns in this entire saga. The room felt heavier than usual that night, like the walls themselves were listening. The lights were low, the city outside quiet, but inside the house everything was anything but calm. Usha sat still on the couch, hands folded, eyes fixed on a point no one else could see. For weeks she had watched her name trend, watched strangers argue about her life, watched the story twist into something she barely recognized. And now, after all the silence, all the restraint, something inside her had finally shifted. JD paced near the window, phone in hand, refreshing his feed again and again. Every notification felt like another jab. He hadn't slept properly in days. Neither had she. The air between them was tight, filled with words that had been swallowed too many times. Neither knew who would speak first, only that once it started, there would be no stopping it. They think they know everything, Usha finally said, her voice calm but sharp underneath. They think silence means guilt. Or weakness. Or permission. JD stopped pacing. I told you this would blow over. She let out a slow breath, almost a laugh, but there was no humor in it. You said that 3 weeks ago. Then 2 weeks ago. Then yesterday. It hasn't blown over. It's grown teeth. Outside, somewhere far away, a siren passed. Inside, the tension cracked just a little. JD rubbed his face, exhaustion written all over him. I'm trying to protect us. By saying nothing? She asked, finally turning to look at him. By letting them write the story for us? The name Erika Kirk had become impossible to escape. It appeared in headlines, comment sections, whispered conversations at events. People who had never met her spoke as if they knew her intentions, her secrets, her role in everything. And with every mention, the distance between truth and rumor seemed to widen. Earlier that day, Usha's phone had buzzed non-stop. Friends checking in, family members asking careful questions. Some messages supportive, others cautious, a few painfully blunt. One read simply, "Is it true?" She had stared at the screen for a long time before locking the phone and placing it face down, like it might burn her. The worst part wasn't the speculation. It was the certainty with which people spoke. As if they had been there. As if they had seen the looks, heard the conversations, felt the undercurrents that only existed inside her marriage. Fans were shocked, commentators were relentless, and every theory felt more dramatic than the last. JD sat down across from her. You know none of this is what they're saying. Usha's jaw tightened. I know what's true, but I also know what it looks like. And looks are everything to them. There was a knock at the door earlier that evening, a close family friend stopping by unannounced. The conversation had been awkward, polite smiles stretched thin. When the friend finally left, the unspoken questions lingered like smoke. Even those who wanted to believe were starting to doubt, and that hurt more than any headline. Inside Usha's mind, memories replayed in fragments. Quiet moments interrupted by sudden tension. Conversations cut short, the feeling that something was always just out of reach, unnamed but present. Nothing scandalous, nothing concrete, yet enough to feed the narrative once it escaped into the public. They want a villain, Usha said softly. And they've decided it's me. Or her. Or you. Depending on the day. JD leaned forward. So what do you want to do? That was the question she'd been asking herself every night. Stay silent and let the storm pass, hoping the damage wouldn't be permanent. Or speak, knowing that once she did, there would be no undoing it. Every word would be dissected, twisted, weaponized. I want my voice back, she said. Meanwhile, across town, Erika Kirk was having her own night from hell. Her phone lit up with messages she hadn't asked for, accusations wrapped in concern, curiosity disguised as care. She hadn't planned on being part of anyone's drama, yet there she was, painted into a corner by assumptions and half-stories. Erika sat at her kitchen table, staring at a cold cup of tea. She replayed her last interaction with JD in her head, searching for anything that could be misconstrued. A casual conversation, a laugh, a shared moment taken wildly out of context. How had it come to this? Her closest friend tried to reassure her over speakerphone. This will pass. People will move on. Will they? Erika replied. They've already decided who I am. Back at the Vance house, Usha stood up, walking slowly as if grounding herself. I've spent my life choosing my words carefully, she said. But right now, careful feels like cowardly. Jade's phone buzzed again. Another alert. Another breakdown video. Another so-called insider claiming to know the truth. He turned the screen face down this time. If you speak, he said cautiously, they won't stop. They'll dig deeper. Usha nodded. I know, but at least they'll be digging around something real. The family group chat had gone quiet hours ago, a silence louder than any argument. Someone had typed, then deleted. Someone else left the chat entirely. The family was left divided, not by facts, but by fear of association, by the sheer weight of public judgment. Usha picked up her phone, scrolling through drafts she'd written and erased. Statements that sounded too stiff. Messages that felt too emotional. Nothing felt right. Nothing captured the mix of anger, sadness, and resolve building inside her. This isn't about Erika, she said suddenly. And it's not even really about you. It's about me being erased from my own story. JD looked at her, surprised. Erased? She met his eyes. Everyone's talking about what I think, how I feel, what I'm willing to tolerate. No one's asking me. That was the moment something shifted between them. Not resolved, not healed, but acknowledged. The tension wasn't just external. It had seeped inside, exposing cracks they'd ignored for too long. Outside, social media buzzed with anticipation. Anonymous accounts teased, big news coming. Fans speculated wildly, dissecting every past appearance, every photo, every pause caught on camera. Emotions ran high, and no one knew what tomorrow would bring. Usha opened a new note on her phone. Her fingers hovered over the screen. JD watched quietly, unsure whether to stop her or support her. Somewhere else, Erika refreshed her feed, heart pounding, sensing that the silence was about to end. And as the clock crept closer to midnight, 3 lives connected by rumor, assumption, and unresolved tension stood on the edge of something irreversible, not knowing that once the first word was spoken, nothing would ever be the same. The first word came out slower than she expected, like it had to push past weeks of restraint. Usha began speaking quietly, almost to herself, recording and stopping again. Every time she thought she had it right, doubt crept in. JD stayed where he was, arms crossed, watching her fight a battle that no one else could see. If I do this, he said carefully, there's no taking it back. Usha didn't look up. They already took it from me. She finally hit record, and this time she didn't stop. Her voice steadied as she went on, shaped by years of public speaking but softened by something far more personal. She talked about pressure, about watching narratives form without facts, about being treated like a footnote in her own marriage. She didn't name names yet. She didn't accuse, but the weight of her words was unmistakable. When she finished, the room fell silent again. JD exhaled slowly. That's a lot. It's not even half of it, she replied. Across town, Erika felt it before she saw it. Her phone vibrated with an intensity that made her stomach drop. Group chats she'd muted suddenly came alive. A message popped up from someone she barely spoke to anymore. Have you seen this? She didn't open it. She already knew what it would be. Earlier that evening, Erika had replayed every public appearance, every handshake, every smile caught by a camera. She had never imagined those moments would be reinterpreted as something else entirely. The betrayal she felt wasn't toward JD or Usha, but toward the public's hunger for scandal. "I didn't ask for this," she whispered to herself. Back in the house, JD finally broke the silence. "People will read between every line." Usha nodded. "They already are." She uploaded the video, fingers trembling just slightly, then set the phone down as if it were a fragile object. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then the notifications began to stack up. Likes, shares, comments multiplying faster than either of them could process. Fans are shocked didn't even begin to cover it. Within minutes, clips were being reposted with dramatic captions. Commentators paused mid-sentence on live streams to react. Some praised her strength, others accused her of deflection. Everyone had an opinion. Jade's phone rang, then rang again. Advisors, friends, people who hadn't spoken to him in months suddenly eager to weigh in. He ignored most of them, eyes fixed on Usha. "Do you regret it?" She shook her head. "I regret waiting." Meanwhile, Erika finally opened the message. It was the video. She watched it once, then again. Usha's words weren't accusatory, but they landed hard. Erika felt both relieved and exposed. Relieved that she wasn't being directly attacked. Exposed because her name hovered unspoken, present in every pause. "This is getting out of control," Erika's friend said over the phone. "You need to say something." "And say what?" Erika snapped. "That I exist?" Back online, the narrative split into factions. One side rallied behind Usha, praising her for breaking her silence and reclaiming her voice. Another questioned her timing, her motives, her marriage. The family was left divided as relatives quietly chose whether to comment or stay quiet, knowing either choice would be judged. JD scrolled through reactions late into the night. "They're dragging Erika into this harder now." Usha winced. "That's not what I wanted. Intent doesn't matter anymore," JD replied. "Impact does." The next morning brought no relief. Headlines grew bolder. Speculation turned sharper. Anonymous sources claimed inside knowledge. A former acquaintance gave an interview hinting at things they had always suspected. None of it could be confirmed, but confirmation was no longer required. Erika woke up to a knock at her door. A reporter stood outside, microphone in hand, camera crew hovering just out of frame. She didn't open it. She slid down against the wall instead, phone pressed to her ear as she called her lawyer. "They won't leave," she said, voice shaking. "They will," the lawyer replied. "Eventually. But right now, they smell blood." Back at the Vance house, JD and Usha argued for the first time in days, voices raised, exhaustion spilling over. "You knew this would happen," JD said. "I knew something would happen," Usha shot back. "I didn't know everyone else would lose their minds." Emotions ran high as old grievances resurfaced. Moments where Usha felt sidelined. Moments where JD felt misunderstood. The controversy had cracked open conversations they'd avoided for years, and now everything was spilling out at once. "I stood by you," Usha said. "Through campaigns, through attacks, through things no one else saw." Jade's voice softened. "I know, and I'm still here," but even as he said it, doubt lingered between them. Not about loyalty, but about whether they truly understood each other anymore. Online, fans dissected their body language from past interviews. A pause here, a glance there, everything became evidence. Nothing was sacred. Even moments meant to show unity were reframed as tension. Erika watched the chaos unfold from a distance, feeling strangely invisible and overexposed at the same time. She drafted a statement, deleted it, drafted another. Every version sounded either too defensive or too cold. Silence felt safer, but it was also suffocating. Late that night, Erika finally sent a single text to JD. It was brief, neutral, careful. "I hope you and your family are okay." JD stared at the message for a long time before responding. Usha noticed. "Who was that?" "Erika," he said honestly. Usha nodded slowly. And nothing," JD replied. "Just that." The simplicity of it didn't erase the tension. It highlighted it. The controversy had woven them all into a story none of them fully controlled anymore. As the days blurred together, one thing became clear: this wasn't fading. It was escalating. And with every new reaction, every leaked opinion, every half-truth dressed as fact, the ground beneath them grew more unstable, pulling them closer to a confrontation that no carefully worded statement could avoid. By the third day, the silence had become impossible to manage. Not the public silence, that was long gone, but the private one. The kind that sat between conversations, stretched between glances, and turned every small interaction into a potential spark. Usha felt it when JD reached for his coffee and their hands barely brushed. She felt it when he checked his phone and turned the screen away without thinking. Nothing obvious. Nothing dramatic, just enough to remind her that something fundamental had shifted. The house no longer felt like a refuge. Every room carried echoes of conversations that hadn't happened yet but were waiting to explode. Usha woke up before dawn, mind racing, replaying every comment she'd read the night before. Some praised her strength, others accused her of manipulation. A few were downright cruel. She told herself she didn't care. She cared anyway. JD sat at the kitchen table scrolling through a briefing prepared by his team. "They want you to stop talking," he said without looking up. Usha poured herself coffee she didn't want. "I haven't said anything since the video." "Exactly," he replied. "They think silence now looks calculated," she laughed bitterly. "So silence before was weakness, and silence now is strategy. Which one do they want?" JD didn't answer. He didn't have one. Across town, Erika finally left her apartment wearing a hat pulled low and sunglasses that did little to disguise her anxiety. Every step outside felt like a risk. She imagined eyes everywhere, even when the street was empty. At a red light, she caught her reflection in the mirror and barely recognized herself. She had become a character in someone else's story, stripped of context and control. Her phone buzzed with a message from a mutual acquaintance. "People are saying you're going to speak out." Erika typed, deleted, then locked the phone. Speak out about what? A rumor that had grown so large it barely resembled reality? Any response felt like stepping into quicksand. Back online, new details surfaced. Unnamed sources claimed private meetings. Others hinted at secret tensions long before anyone noticed. Fans were shocked by how quickly speculation turned into certainty. Emotions ran high as comment sections became battlegrounds, with strangers fighting over interpretations of people they had never met. Usha's mother called that afternoon. Her voice was gentle but firm. "You need to take care of yourself." "I am," Usha lied. "No," her mother said softly. "You're fighting." Usha closed her eyes. "I don't know how to stop." That night, JD and Usha attended a small private gathering they couldn't avoid. Smiles were forced. Conversations carefully neutral. People spoke around the controversy, not about it, but every pause felt loaded. One person squeezed Usha's hand a little too long. Another avoided eye contact altogether. The room was polite, tense, divided. When they got back into the car, JD finally snapped. "This is tearing everything apart." Usha stared out the window. "It was already torn. We just couldn't see it." "That's not fair," he said. "Neither is this," she shot back. The argument escalated quickly, words tumbling over each other, months of frustration finding an outlet. Usha accused JD of prioritizing optics over honesty. JD accused her of underestimating the fallout. Both were right, neither wanted to admit it. "Do you even hear yourself?" JD said. "Do you hear me?" Usha replied. They fell silent, the city lights streaking past as if nothing in the world had changed. Meanwhile, Erika sat with her lawyer, papers spread across the table. "You have two options," the lawyer said. "Say nothing and hope it dies. Or speak and risk making it bigger." "What would you do?" Erika asked. The lawyer paused. "Neither option is safe." Erika laughed hollowly. "Story of my life lately." She went home and opened her laptop, not to draft a statement but to read. She read every version of herself that existed online now. The ambitious one, the manipulative one, the innocent one. None of them felt real. All of them felt dangerous. Late that night, JD received another message from Erika. Longer this time. "Still careful." She wrote about being overwhelmed. About not wanting to cause harm. About feeling trapped in something she didn't create. JD read it twice before showing it to Usha. Usha read it slowly. Her expression softened, then hardened again. "She's scared." "We all are," JD said. "I don't blame her," Usha admitted quietly. "I blame the vacuum. When no one speaks, anything can fill the space." JD studied her. "Are you saying you want her to speak?" Usha hesitated. "I don't know what I want anymore." The next morning, a new clip went viral. An old interview of Usha, taken wildly out of context, edited to suggest something she never meant. Fans are shocked all over again. Outrage reignited. Commentators declared it a turning point. It wasn't. It was just another twist. Usha watched the clip in disbelief. "This is ridiculous." JD clenched his jaw. "This is what we're up against." For the first time, Usha felt truly tired. Not angry, not defensive, just exhausted. She sat on the edge of the bed, head in her hands. "I can't keep doing this." JD sat beside her. "Then don't." She looked up. "I don't mean the media. I mean pretending this isn't affecting us." That admission hung in the air, heavier than any accusation. It wasn't about Erika. It wasn't about rumors. It was about trust strained by pressure, about conversations postponed too long, about choosing silence for different reasons and calling it the same thing. Outside, the world kept speculating. Inside, something fragile began to surface. Honesty, raw and uncomfortable. But just as it seemed like things might slow down, a teaser appeared online. A respected journalist hinting at an upcoming exposé. Sources ready to talk, the caption read. Usha's phone buzzed endlessly. Jade's team went into crisis mode. Erika saw the teaser and felt her chest tighten. Whatever came next, it wouldn't be quiet. And it wouldn't be kind. The teaser changed everything. It wasn't loud, it wasn't detailed, but it was enough. Just a few words, just enough mystery, and suddenly the speculation reached a fever pitch. Phones rang non-stop. Group chats reignited. People who had stayed neutral began choosing sides. Emotions ran high as if everyone sensed that the next move would define the entire story. Usha felt it in her chest before she read it. That familiar tightening, the warning sign that things were about to spiral again. She showed the post to JD without saying a word. He read it, jaw clenched, then handed the phone back. This is bad, he said. This is inevitable, she replied. Jade's team advised immediate damage control. Background calls. Quiet pressure. Careful messaging. Usha listened from the other room, hearing her life discussed like a chessboard. Every sentence started with optics and ended with containment. No one asked how she was holding up. She finally walked in. I'm not a strategy, she said sharply. The room went silent. Jade's advisor cleared his throat. Of course not. But perception is already broken, Usha cut in. I'm done pretending otherwise. JD dismissed the team earlier than planned. Once they were alone again, he looked at her with a mix of admiration and concern. You're pushing back harder than ever, because I have nothing left to lose, she replied. Across town, Erika watched the same teaser circulate. Her hands shook as she refreshed the page again and again, hoping for clarification that never came. She called her lawyer, then her friend, then stared at the ceiling when neither had answers. What if they're talking about me? Erika asked. What if they're not? Her friend replied. Either way, I'm trapped in it. Erika's past was suddenly under a microscope. Old photos resurfaced, casual interactions reframed as calculated moves. People debated her character as if it were a plot device. She wanted to scream that she was more than this narrative, but she also knew screaming would only feed it. Back at home, Usha and JD sat at opposite ends of the couch. The distance felt symbolic, even if neither meant it that way. Did you know this was coming? Usha asked quietly. JD hesitated just long enough. I knew someone was digging. Usha nodded slowly. And you didn't tell me. I was trying to protect you, by deciding for me? Her voice cracked. That's the problem. Everyone keeps deciding for me. The words hung there, heavy and undeniable. JD rubbed his temples. I didn't think it would get this far. It always does, Usha said. Silence doesn't stop storms. It just delays them. That night, Usha couldn't sleep. She scrolled through comments until the words blurred together. Support, hate, conspiracy, certainty, strangers arguing about her marriage with absolute confidence. Fans were shocked, but also entertained. She wondered how many people would still care once the story stopped being fun. Erika, also sleepless, finally opened a blank document and started typing. Not a statement, a letter, not for the public, not even to send. Just to remind herself of what was real. She wrote about confusion, about fear, about how easily people became symbols instead of humans. She cried while writing, then closed the laptop without saving. The next morning brought a new blow. A clip leaked, audio without context, voices distorted. The internet immediately filled in the blanks. Accusations hardened, denials were dismissed, emotions ran high again, louder than before. Usha listened to the clip once and felt sick. This isn't even real, she said. Jade's face was pale. It doesn't have to be. The family group chat exploded. Accusations, defenses, panic. One relative suggested issuing a joint statement. Another warned against it. Someone else left the chat again. The family was left divided, not by truth, but by fear of being dragged under. Usha typed a message, deleted it, then typed again. Stop guessing, she finally sent. If you want to know how I feel, ask me. No one replied. Erika's name trended again by noon. Memes appeared, parody videos, exaggerated reenactments. The story had crossed into spectacle. Erika turned off her phone and sat in silence, realizing that whatever happened next would happen without her consent. JD and Usha argued again, quieter this time, more dangerous. Not shouting, but sharp. Do you trust me? JD asked. Usha paused. I trust you. I don't trust the space between us anymore. That answer hurt more than anger would have. JD nodded slowly. Then we have to fill it. Together. Then stop deciding alone, she said. Another message arrived, this one from Erika to Usha. It was unexpected, brief, honest. I never wanted to cause pain. I'm sorry this has become what it is. Usha stared at the screen for a long time. When she finally replied, her message was just as short. I know, it wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't resolution, but it was human, and in a story drowning in distortion, that mattered. The journalist behind the teaser finally announced a release date. Anticipation surged, reaction videos queued up, commentators sharpened their takes. Everyone prepared for impact. Usha closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Whatever comes out, she said to JD, we face it openly. JD nodded. No more hiding, and somewhere between fear and resolve, all three of them understood the same thing. The next chapter would change everything. Not because of what the story claimed, but because of how they chose to respond when the noise reached its peak. The release day arrived without ceremony, no countdown clock, no dramatic announcement beyond a quiet post that spread faster than anyone expected. By the time Usha woke up, the story was already everywhere. Notifications stacked on her phone like missed heartbeats. She didn't open anything at first. She just sat on the edge of the bed, feet on the floor, breathing slowly as if preparing for impact. JD was already awake, standing by the window, phone pressed to his ear. His voice was low, controlled, but she could hear the strain. When he hung up, he didn't turn around right away. It's out, he said. Usha nodded. I know. They read it together in silence. Paragraph by paragraph, claim by claim. Some parts were exaggerated, some misleading, some painfully close to moments they recognized but no longer belonged to them. Conversations stripped of tone, pauses filled with intention that was never there. The article didn't accuse directly, but it didn't need to. It invited the audience to connect the dots themselves. Fans are shocked was the phrase dominating reactions again, plastered across thumbnails and captions. Reactions poured in faster than facts ever could. People dissected sentences like clues in a crime scene. Others declared verdicts with confidence that bordered on performance. Usha closed the article and set the phone down. Her hands were steady now. This is what they wanted, she said. A story that can't be disproved because it's built on suggestion. JD sat beside her. We can respond, we can, she agreed. But we don't have to play their game. Meanwhile, Erika read the article alone, curled on her couch, knees pulled to her chest. She recognized herself only in fragments. A quote here, an implication there. Her name wasn't everywhere, but it didn't need to be. The shadow was enough. She felt anger rise, sharp and sudden, followed by something heavier. Grief, not for reputation, but for how easily truth had been bent. She called her lawyer again. They're making me a symbol, the lawyer sighed. That's what happens when stories get bigger than people. Then I want to be a person again, Erika said. Even if it costs me. Back at the Vance house, the mood shifted from panic to something colder. Resolve. Usha opened her laptop and began typing, not a statement, not a defense, but a narrative. Her narrative. She wrote about context, about complexity, about how silence is often mistaken for consent, and how speculation can feel like violence when it's aimed at your life. JD read over her shoulder. This is risky. So is letting others define me, she replied. As the hours passed, the family fallout intensified. Some relatives publicly defended them. Others distanced themselves. A few liked posts they probably shouldn't have. Screenshots circulated. Alliances became visible. The family was left divided in a way that might not heal quickly. Usha's mother called again. Are you sure about this? Usha smiled sadly. I'm sure about myself. Erika, after hours of debate, made her own decision. She posted a short video. No filters, no drama, just her face, tired but composed. She spoke about boundaries, about being pulled into something she didn't create, about refusing to be a projection for anyone else's assumptions. She didn't mention names, she didn't accuse, but the message was clear. She was done being silent. The reaction was immediate. Some praised her courage, others accused her of timing. Emotions ran high as two narratives collided in real time, each refusing to be reduced to a villain or a victim. Usha watched Erika's video in full. She didn't flinch, she didn't interrupt. When it ended, she exhaled. That took guts. JD nodded. It complicates things. Good, Usha said. The truth usually does. The internet struggled with that. Complexity didn't trend well. People wanted clean lines, heroes and villains. Instead, they got nuance. And it frustrated them. Commentators argued over who spoke better, who seemed more sincere, who was hiding something. Body language experts weighed in. Armchair psychologists diagnosed motivations. None of it felt real to the people living it. Late that night, Usha and JD finally talked without defensiveness. Really talked. About pressure. About fear, about how easily they had slipped into parallel lives under scrutiny. They admitted mistakes, not scandals, mistakes of communication, of assumption, of silence chosen for different reasons. I should have asked more, JD said quietly. I should have demanded to be heard sooner, Usha replied. It wasn't a fix, but it was honest. Erika turned off her phone and sat in the quiet afterward, heart still racing. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring. But for the first time in weeks, she felt lighter. Whatever happened next would happen with her voice included. Outside, the media cycle continued to churn, but something had shifted. The story no longer moved in one direction. It fractured, perspectives multiplied, certainty eroded, and in that fracture, something unexpected appeared. Doubt, not about guilt or innocence but about the story itself. People began asking different questions. Not what happened, but why they cared so much. Not who was wrong, but who benefited from the chaos. Usha noticed the change in tone first. Fewer accusations, more uncertainty. It wasn't peace, but it was space. She closed her laptop and looked at JD. Whatever happens next, she said, I'm not going back into silence. JD reached for her hand. Neither am I. And as the night settled in, the controversy still burned, but no longer out of control. For the first time since it began, the people at its center were no longer just reacting. They were choosing how to stand in the fire. The days that followed felt slower, heavier, like the aftermath of a storm where debris still littered everything even though the sky looked clearer. The noise hadn't stopped, but it had changed. Outrage cooled into analysis. Certainty cracked into debate. The story was no longer a straight line, and that unsettled people who wanted easy conclusions. Usha felt the shift immediately. Fewer aggressive messages, more cautious ones. People asking questions instead of making accusations. It didn't bring relief so much as a strange calm, the kind that comes when you finally accept that you can't control the outcome, only your part in it. JD returned from meetings quieter than usual. Not defeated, just thoughtful. They're adjusting, he said one evening. The narrative, it's not as clean anymore, Usha nodded. Real life never is. They sat together without speaking for a long time, the television muted, the city outside humming on. It was the first time in weeks that silence didn't feel like an enemy. It felt earned. Erika experienced the change differently. Invitations she had declined were no longer resentfully withdrawn, just paused. A few messages came in from people she hadn't expected. Quiet apologies, awkward check-ins. Nothing dramatic, but enough to remind her that not everyone had swallowed the loudest version of the story. Still, the damage lingered. Opportunities quietly disappeared. Doors that once felt open now required explanation. She knew that even when controversies fade, their shadows remain. But she also knew she had crossed a point of no return. Silence would never protect her again. One afternoon, a mutual acquaintance suggested a private meeting. No press, no statements, just conversation. Erika hesitated before agreeing. Usha hesitated too. JD said little, only that whatever happened should be honest. They met in a quiet, neutral place. No cameras, no aides, no phones on the table. The tension was immediate but different from what any headline imagined. Not hostility, not drama, just discomfort mixed with exhaustion. Usha spoke first. This never should have become what it did. Erika nodded. I know, and I'm sorry for my part in the confusion, even if it wasn't intentional. There was no tearful confession. No explosive accusation, just two people acknowledging the weight of being pulled into something larger than themselves. They spoke about boundaries, about perception, about how quickly the world fills in blanks when it wants a story. JD listened more than he spoke. When he did, it was careful. We all underestimated how fast things can spiral. Usha looked at him, then back at Erika. I don't need us to be anything, she said. I just needed to stop feeling erased. Erika met her gaze. I never wanted to take space that wasn't mine. The conversation didn't fix everything. It wasn't meant to, but when they stood to leave, the air felt lighter. Less poisoned by assumption. Something private had been reclaimed from the public narrative. Outside that room, the internet continued to speculate, but it lacked momentum now. Reaction videos got fewer views. Comment sections thinned. A new controversy began to edge into trending lists, pulling attention away. Fans are shocked became fans are distracted. Usha noticed it the day she went out without being recognized. No whispers, no phones raised, just a normal interaction at a cafe. She sat alone afterward, coffee cooling in her hands, surprised by how emotional the ordinary felt. JD joined her later. It's slowing down, he said. Stories always do, she replied. They move on to the next thing. And us? He asked. Usha thought about it. We stay. That didn't mean everything was perfect. Trust, once strained, doesn't snap back into place. It requires maintenance. Conversations continued, sometimes uncomfortable, sometimes raw. But they were having them now, not avoiding them. That alone changed everything. Erika focused on rebuilding in quieter ways. Fewer public appearances, more intentional ones. She stopped searching her name. Stopped trying to correct every false version of herself. She understood now that reclaiming your voice doesn't mean using it constantly. It means choosing when it matters. Weeks later, a commentator tried to revive the controversy with a "Where are they now?" segment. It landed flat. No new outrage. No viral spark. The audience had moved on. Usha watched the clip and felt nothing. No anger. No fear. Just distance. She had stepped out of the story without needing it to end on her terms. The family, too, slowly found a new balance. Some relationships remained strained. Others grew unexpectedly stronger. The family was left divided, yes, but not broken. Divisions became clearer, boundaries firmer. And that clarity, while painful, was honest. One evening, JD asked, "Do you think it was worth it?" Usha didn't answer right away. She thought about the nights without sleep. The fear. The loss of control. And then she thought about the moment she decided to speak, knowing it would change everything. "Yes," she said finally. "Because I didn't lose myself." JD nodded. "Neither did I. I almost did, but I didn't." Outside, the world kept spinning, indifferent and relentless. Controversies rose and fell. Outrage flared and faded. But for the people who had lived inside this one, something permanent remained. Not the scandal, but the lesson. Silence can protect, but it can also erase. Speaking can cost you, but it can also return you to yourself. Usha stood at the window that night, the same place where weeks earlier everything had felt like it was collapsing. Now it just felt like a window again. A boundary. A view. She turned to JD. "Whatever comes next," she said, "we face it together." Openly, he smiled, tired but sincere. No more letting the noise decide for us. And somewhere else in the city, Erika closed her laptop and stepped out onto her balcony, breathing in the night air. The world hadn't apologized. It probably never would, but she had stopped waiting for it to. The story that once consumed them all faded into background noise, another chapter in a media cycle that never rests. But for those at its center, it marked an ending and a beginning at the same time. Not of perfection, but of agency. And that, in the end, was the one thing no rumor, no headline, and no fabricated narrative could ever take away. Now it's your turn, because stories like this don't end when the cameras stop rolling or when the headlines fade. They live on in the conversations people have, in the opinions you form, and in the questions that still don't have clear answers. You've just witnessed a saga filled with silence, speculation, emotion, and moments that felt uncomfortably real. And if you're being honest with yourself, you probably felt pulled in more than once. Maybe you sided with Usha when she finally spoke out. Maybe you questioned her timing. Maybe you felt sympathy for Erika being dragged into a narrative she never signed up for. Or maybe you're still torn, unsure who to believe, or whether the truth even fully surfaced at all. That uncertainty is exactly why this story refuses to disappear quietly. Fans are shocked not just because of what was said, but because of what remains unsaid. The pauses, the careful wording, the things hinted at but never confirmed. The emotions that felt too raw to be scripted. And now you're left where everyone else is left too, staring at the aftermath and wondering what really happens behind closed doors when the cameras aren't there. Do you think silence protected anyone in the end, or did it just give rumors more room to grow? Do you believe speaking out was an act of courage, or did it pour fuel on an already raging fire? And what about the people caught in the middle, the ones turned into symbols instead of humans? These aren't easy questions, and that's what makes this drama linger. Emotions ran high throughout this entire saga, and chances are they ran high for you too. Maybe you felt angry at how fast people judged. Maybe you felt uncomfortable recognizing how easily a story pulled you in. Maybe you even saw reflections of your own life in moments of miscommunication, pressure, or silence chosen for the wrong reasons. This is where you step in. Your voice matters here. Your perspective adds another layer to a story that refuses to be simple. Scroll down and tell us what you really think. Not what everyone else is saying, but what you believe after hearing it all. Were the lines between truth and rumor crossed too easily? Was anyone truly innocent, or just better at navigating the spotlight? And if you're still watching right now, if you stayed through every twist, every tense moment, every emotional shift, then you're part of this conversation whether you realize it or not. This channel exists for stories that spark debate, that make you question narratives, and that refuse to give you neat endings. So don't just watch and disappear. Hit like if this story made you feel something, even if that feeling was discomfort. Hit subscribe if you want more deep dives into dramatic, shocking, and conversation-starting stories like this one. And most importantly, comment below and let everyone know where you stand. Do you think this controversy is truly over, or is it just waiting for the next trigger to explode again? Do you believe the public will ever fully move on, or will this always follow the people involved like a shadow? And if you were in their place, would you have stayed silent, or would you have spoken sooner, knowing the cost? Your opinion could spark the next big discussion. Someone reading your comment might see the story differently because of you. That's the power of engaging instead of just consuming. Stay tuned, because stories like this have a way of resurfacing when you least expect them. New details, new perspectives, new fallout, and when that happens, you'll want to be right here, part of the conversation, not catching up after the fact. This isn't just entertainment, it's a reminder of how fast narratives form.